Hey, Bruin fans, this is David Singleton, and you're listening to the Once Bruin Show. Go Bruins.
You're listening to the What's Bruin Show, part of the What's Bruin Show network, with your hosts, Jake Berryfield and Mike Regalado, and occasionally some friends, talking all things UCLA sports. And now, it's time for the What's Bruin Show.
Well, hello, welcome to What's Bruin. I am your host, Jake Merrifield, and tonight we have a very special show for you. We just did a football update on recruiting and how the stakes have kind of changed for UCLA football. That was the last one in your feed, but now we have a very special interview coming up with none other than UCLA basketball's David Singleton, and he was more than gracious with his time, spent almost an hour with us, and I think you're going to be you're going to really enjoy listening to this. But it's the What's Bruin Show on the What's Bruin Show network. What'sBruinShow@gmail.com, patreon.com/What'sBruinShow, What'sBruinShow.com, and on YouTube, search What's Bruin Show. You can call the WBS hotline, 805-399-4WBS, second reign of Troy. And I'm not going to spend too long before we get into it, but geez, it was just, we're very, very happy to have him in. He was a very gracious guest. So please enjoy that in just a couple minutes. Before we get to that, though, I do want to mention that I will be on Reign of Troy Radio tomorrow night. That will be Wednesday night. That'll be on their YouTube feed as well as on their normal podcast feed. I will be guest hosting with Michael Castillo over there, so I'm looking forward to that tomorrow night. And then also, you see in the show notes, I have been advertising throughout the last year pretty much the best dumplings you're ever going to have in your life, and it's made none other by my wonderful friend Jody Lynn, and it's jodysdumplings.com. Well, right now she is going to, if you're in the Valley at all next week, please go over to Hot Merchants, which is on 5031 Lankershim Boulevard. She's going to be there on Friday night from 5 to 10 p.m. That's 6/27 Friday night, 5 to 10 p.m. So not this Friday, but next Friday. And if you like dumplings, you'll never have better dumplings than these. The basic dumpling is a chicken one with a little bit of heat in it, and it's just the most wonderful thing you're ever going to eat in your life. But then she also has a bunch of specialty ones that I'm not sure what she'll have at the pop-up, but anywhere from like mushroom to dessert ones. And in general, they all have a Bay Area sort of theme. She's a big Golden State Warrior fan. That's about the only thing I dislike about Jody. Go Lakers. She's been featured on The Curious Chef. She's been featured in Eater magazine. And like I said, these things are just wonderful. So get out to Hot Merchants on 6/27 Friday night. It's in the back. You go through the tap room, and it's out on the back patio there. And go get yourself some wonderful food and tell Jody that Jake said hi. So anyways, with that being said, let's get right to our very wonderful, awesome, super special guest on the What's Bruin Show. None other than UCLA basketball's David Singleton. Hi, join us now on the What's Bruin Show. It's UCLA basketball's David Singleton. Singleton played for the Bruins under Steve Alford and Mick Cronin from 2018 to 2023, I'm sure, as you all remember. And he was part of the 2021 Final Four team. LA Times beat reporter, friend of the show, Ben Bulch, calls him one of the all-time nicest guys in the history of the world. David Singleton, welcome to the What's Bruin Show. How are you doing?
I'm going good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, it's wonderful to have you. And you're here in the What's Bruin studio, which is my garage. I hope you're comfortable in here. It's a little hotter. This is like the first week of Valley heat. Have you spent a lot of time in the Valley?
Yeah, I know Valley heat.
Yeah, and it's rough because it'll get 90s and 100s. But hopefully it's okay in here for you today. So, Mr. Singleton, you play for the Bruins till 2023. What have you been doing lately, brother?
So lately I've been playing with the College Park Skyhawks for 2 years in the
Awesome.
G League. And then recently I just was part of the coaching program of the NBPA Top 100 camp, which was really exciting for me.
Yeah, I'll bet. So how does that work? How does that thing work?
So the coaching program, we come in as rookie coaches. So it's me, a couple of guys from the G League, and we get assigned OG coaches, the coaches that have been there, done that, and then we coach the teams in the camp.
So do you are you kind of shadowing a coach, or they just say go do your thing?
A coach is shadowing us, making sure what to do and how to talk to the kids and how to execute.
had you done any coaching, even as like a rec league ball, like in your whole career, or has it always been you being coached?
It's always me being coached. That
Right.
that was my first coaching experience,
Yeah.
and I was really grateful that I could be a part of that, such a prestigious like coaching program like that.
Yeah, as someone who was a much better coach than an athlete, I'd done that with my kids and throughout my life, and it's a lot of fun and very gratifying. So that's a very cool experience for you, man. That's awesome. So, Mikey, you're here with us, right?
Oh yeah.
Good. Mike is here too. I forgot to bring Mike in, but you came into the UCLA's program under the end of the Steve Alford era, and then you crossed into the Cronin era and went through all the great first years of Cronin. How would you are there differences between the two coaches? What would you point to, like just in your mind?
Definitely different style of coaching. You know, everyone has the way of doing things. Cronin's more defensive oriented. And I wouldn't say one's better, one's better than the other. Like obviously their records speak for themselves, but I would just say it's just their style and then the way they operate and manage the basketball team.
Could you point to something about how they manage their basketball team that is different, or like like there's always the generic terms of like, oh, he's a player's coach or he's a hard ass coach or whatever the archetype is. Is there something that is about Mick Cronin that like separates him from other coaches in your mind, or any like sort of brand wisdom you got from him in the 3 years, of some impression you took away, or something you want to complain about?
For me personally, I feel like Cronin, like he teaches you how to be a better man first before being a better basketball player.
Huge job for a coach, right?
Yeah, which is like essentially a lot of people feel like our basketball coach's role is just to teach basketball, but Cronin, he teaches you how to go about life, and he teaches you life skills, which prepares you for the real world on and off the court. That's why I love Coach Cronin.
No, absolutely right. Now, something that as Bruin fans, I personally, Mick Cronin's one of my favorite coaches that I've seen at UCLA of any sport since I've been since I was a Bruin back in the 90s, right? But he doesn't always rub people the right way necessarily. He's not always like giving the PC answers or whatever, and sometimes he makes some news just with his press conferences and things. A couple weeks ago, Tom Thibodeau gets fired from the Knicks, and he was kind of known as like a super hard ass, play his players, running them ragged and all that stuff. And it's not the same as Cronin in my mind, but they both had that kind of like hard ass sort of reputation. Does that make sense? Do you think there are particular guys who are more Cronin players than not Cronin players, or what would be the difference? What distinguishes that?
Probably what distinguishes that is like players that play for the team first, and they're not interested in like getting their stats or getting mine. They're interested in helping the program and helping the team and representing like the 4 letters across their chest.
That sounds like the guy David Singleton is.
Yeah,
to me, that's what
1,000%.
When you describe that, I'm like, that sounds like David Singleton.
Yeah,
that's pretty rad. Yeah. I love that, dude.
So I have a really quick question. Obviously it's always different to go from one coach to another. Obviously you had Alford, who was more offensive oriented, and then you get to Cronin, which there was a whole just I wouldn't say drawn out, but there was a little bit of drama in the coaching. And then when he got to Westwood, what was it like, first meeting him and then going into his program, was it a bit of a shock when you understood what he required from all of his basketball players?
It wasn't really a shock because my first year of college basketball, I thought like that's how it's supposed to be. So it was just something new. It wasn't really a shock. I was just, this is how we're supposed to operate. This is how we're supposed to talk on defense. This is how a team, a winning successful team is supposed to operate. So it was just new to me. It wasn't really a shock.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. You guys go on this Final Four run in 21, and it wasn't exactly expected. It wasn't, but you guys had a good team. Like, what was it like being? First of all, what's it like playing in the NCAA tournament as opposed to like going through the Pac-12 schedule at the time, or even like what your experience was as a high school player coming into college? Like, is the NCAA tournament just a completely different thing than everything else, or is it all just basketball? How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's a completely different thing than everything else, because I feel like in that position, any team is liable to beat any team. Like, for example, like a team, like a 15th seed team will be locked in, ready to go. They will probably never face a 2 seed caliber team on their schedule. But if they can just squeeze it out just for 1 second, get that one win, then that's the beauty of the tournament.
Yeah, and they're there to take your chain, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
they're good.
they're trying to bring glory to their team. Every team is trying to. Every team is liable to be any team. That's what makes the tournament so good. It's not about the front. People worry about their school and like, oh, this school should beat that school. It's like, no, those are basketball players. There's talent everywhere. Like the portal proves it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like we all know what we're talking about when that bracket comes out. We're like, oh, I know for sure this team's winning. I know for sure that team's winning. But then every year, like 30% of the 12 seeds, lose their or have an upset victory or something like. It's like, so you don't know shit really. I mean, that's the thing.
Here's the thing. Here's what you do. You look at the mascots and you pick which one could beat the other in a fight. That's what you go with.
Well, it's certainly as good of a criteria as any, right?
I do want to ask you because that team went from one of the the last four in to the final four. And then Gonzaga comes along. I can only imagine. Looking on TV, and that was during COVID too, right? So there was no one in the stands. Yeah, that was one of the weirdest.
Oh yeah,
seasons covering UCLA basketball. I would told Ben Bolch during one of the home games, Mike, how weird is this to be probably one of only 150 people in this arena, right? And they still put us way up in the rafters. But no, but for that game, I could see the look on your faces. I saw when that shot went in. Personally, I was like,
you're talking about the Jalen shot.
Yeah. Half court shot. Like, not to relive it, but like, what was it? How was it for you just looking back at that whole tournament, but also going, we lost on that?
I mean, it was a great experience. That was probably the most fun I've ever had playing the game of basketball. Like, especially with COVID, like in the hotel, you can't leave the floor. Like, we can't leave your room.
Crazy.
Like, we only have each other. We see each other. That's all we got. So I feel like it was definitely a team bonding moment, like just because of the circumstances and COVID. And then it was each win, like the feeling just doubled, like literally from from Sweet 16 to Elite 8. And then like we needed our whole roster, we needed to step up. Like I needed to step up in Alabama, Johnny Juzang just stepping up, Tiger Campbell being the one of the best point guards in the country at the time. Like it was just we were firing on our full cylinders from top to bottom.
Yeah. So with that COVID experience, Mike just reminded me of it, right? What was it like to play these huge high-stake games, but you're not playing them in front of anybody, really? What is that like for the experience as a player?
As a player, you have to really lock into what's in between the lines. Like whether it's a sold-out crowd or no one's in there, you're expected to perform.
Sure. And
you have to lock in. And actually, it should be easier to talk on defense without people.
Right.
Because, I try to get, like, UCLA fans, like, we don't travel, like, as much as other schools. So it's like, sometimes it's like it was a benefit for us and everything like that. But yeah,
that's funny.
People have to know the geography of this country. Like there's mountains and desert here, and nothing but cities on the East Coast. But
hey, we travel sometimes. No,
we go to Sacramento and Vegas, like for sure. But like, I remember there was one time we played Illinois in Vegas, and there was just nothing but orange.
Yeah, it's got to be rough, right?
Yeah.
Was that the preseason tournament?
No, I think it was a Continental Tire, something like that, my 5th year.
Yeah, I'm in no way sticking up for UCLA fans traveling. I'm not going to die on that.
But we go hard though. Yeah. Like there's definitely representation around the city.
Mm-hmm.
I will say every time like I go in the city, I do see some like license plate backs and like some people. I'll wear like a UCLA jacket. They'll say "Go Bruins." So it's they're definitely here.
Yeah,
I just got to.
The Valley's very Bruin friendly too.
And
this is also a big city too. I mean, it's massive.
So there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people here. One more COVID thing because I'm sticking on it. Do you have a pro basketball team? Do you have a pro basketball team you follow that you're
NBA
a fan
team?
of?
Los Angeles Lakers.
Thank you. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to assume anything. I
grew up in LA. Like.
Yeah, exactly. You grew up in LA, and that's why you're no goddamn Clipper fan. Those poor godforsaken people. Okay, no.
I'm biased. Like I'm not saying I don't like the Clippers, but I just grew up.
I am, but that's okay.
I grew up a Laker fan.
Okay, good. Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, the only time we have like differences, like sometimes political differences.
He's a former Laker fan.
But the only time I still follow him.
All right.
I just got pissed at management for a while. The only time we ever get really pissed at each other is when I mock them for the Lakers. I'm like, guys, what happened? What happened tonight? Come on.
Yeah.
The Clippers just beat them by 30. What happened?
He could be a little bit of a hater. But the question I want.
Although our friend, who's the biggest Laker fan, is probably the biggest hater as well.
Oh, the Godfather.
Jamaal.
Jamal.
Oh, Jamal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, he's
Jamal's on suicide watch like every time the Lakers play.
Yeah, that's right. He's like that with sports.
Every time the Lakers play, Liverpool plays. Yeah.
But so we're Laker fans. That's good. We're Bruin fans, of course. You're a Bruin player, of course. And the Dodgers. All what I'm getting at is that was like the COVID was the weirdest thing because all the teams did good.
The
Lakers win the title. The Dodgers win the title. The Bruins go to the Final Four. It's like nuts, right? But it was all in front of nobody. I've been a season ticket holder for the Lakers for 20 years, and that's the only finals experience I didn't get to go to just because of the gosh darn COVID, man. So I'll always remember that season because of how weird and surreal it was. And it's got to be really cool to be like, I was a part of that shit. That's really fun.
Yeah.
Who's a bigger dickhead in your mind, though? Jalen Suggs or Julian Strother?
Jake, you're asking the nicest guy on the planet. Come on.
Who's the biggest a-hole, however you want to describe them? Who, like, just when you see their face,
who grinds your gears?
I mean,
those two guys with those two shots. I hate those guys.
What's funny is, like, me and Julian, we did the Houston Rockets pre-draft workout together.
Nice.
So it was like, I did have PTSD from
how could you not, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't say they're, like, they're dickheads, but like because they're off the court, they're really cool. They're really nice guys.
I have no doubt.
No, like Julian, like he's really cool. It's cool, and then he plays with Peyton too. And then, but if I had to pick a shot that hurt the most, I feel like that's
what I want.
That's what probably the Final Four shot hurt the most because I was like guarding him, like I put my hands up right there. Like Julian Strother's shot, like I knew, like we knew it was going to happen, but I wasn't the guy that was guarding him, so it was like.
I'm sorry to bring it up.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just out of my control,
Yeah, of course. And that was. I mean, I think that's as a Bruin collective, we're all just like we all have nightmares about that thing. It's just terrible. And it's like going back to when Ben Hallen was there, and Adam Morrison was on a team that was heavily favored against the Bruins, and the Bruins beat their ass. Jordan Farmar and all those guys. And that one always has a special place in my heart because we made him cry, even though like I have no stake in it. I'm just a fan, like yelling, screaming. But that guy like shot a commercial like a block away from here, and so I always, hated his ass because he was from Gonzaga, and then we beat him and all that stuff. But anyways, so it's like that was they took all that my good memories of Gonzaga and like flipped them on its ear, and I'm still like, I'm still feeling that. So. I feel that pain with you, my friend.
Although I do appreciate the fact that it has become a semi-contentious rivalry. It's not hated like USC or Arizona, but the fact that Gonzaga and UCLA continue to play every ye're, and it's just there's battles every time they're on the court. I appreciate that this. I don't want to call it a new rivalry or whatnot, but both teams always seem to put their best efforts when they face each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the art of war. Literally, it's just watching. Really, it's just watching like two teams like on the court. It's really like with them, it's like there's playing basketball and then there's combat.
Yeah, and that's what it turns into, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes you get those rivalries. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Mike, the Godfather Jim Bendat, a friend of our show, is probably yelling at us right now. Gonzaga, Jim, we don't care. Sorry. It is what it is. So
I always forget. Gonzaga.
The 2023 season, you go into that tourney, and we've been talking about that shot and all this stuff. But how good were you guys, in your opinion, like best in the country good before you start suffering all these injuries to attrition with Bona and what's guy Clark going down?
Yeah, where would you put yourself before that USC game?
Yeah, how confident were you? Yeah, exactly. Like, what did you think of that team before you got hit with 8 injuries?
I thought we were the best. I thought we were the best college team on the planet. Like, it's just whether we were. Well, I'm not saying like factual we were or not. It's just my opinion at the time of our fifth year. I mean, we had a experienced veteran point guard who's arguably one of the best point guards in ccollege. We had Amari Bailey, very talented, like giving you sparks, and he's playing last four games of the season, averaging 17 points. He's finding his way. Jalen Clark, National Defensive Player of the Year, goes down with injury, still gets to the award.
Right.
Jaime Jaquez, and then Adem Bono was taking everything off the backboard and being that presence that we needed. And then there's me coming off the bench, and then we had Dylan Andrews, who was definitely he was a freshman point guard at the time, but he definitely contributed during the season at times. So he was we had him like locked in and ready to go in that year. And down the line, it was I just felt like we really had it in us. We knew what it took. We were getting the job done that year, and I feel like we were the best college basketball team of the year at the time, like injury free.
It's rough when those you feel like you got it all lined up, and then it's like fate strikes you down, right?
Yeah.
And I do
still a great season.
I have to apologize to you because I've been doing Bruin Report Online for 6 years, and this was the first time I went to a Sweet 16 game.
Bro.
And they told us only after the game that we were going to be able to interview the teams. And I remember just going in the locker room and was like, oh, I don't want to be here. These guys need their time. But they're like, media, go ahead, get some interviews. And I interviewed you. And what are the pictures? You know, I take a picture with it so that we could put it on the front of the page. And then you put the video. The picture I took of you, your eyes were burning through my soul. I was just like, I'm like, try to telepathically tell you, I'm so sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
Everyone is doing their job. I get it. Like,
but it was just weird because I hadn't been in a situation like that to where I'm supposed to cover them at this moment. I'm like, oh, all right, let's get it over with. But no, I mean, it was such a great run. Yeah, I was just looking it up, 31-6.
Mm-hmm.
Just to lose on another shot like that. But even still, before all that. That game was just another wonderful battle just to be a part of. I was obviously, as I said, I was there covering it from the stands and just seeing that shot. I'm like, oh no. And buzzer goes off. I'm like, again, come on, Gonzaga. Seriously.
It was a great team to watch, though.
Yeah.
Now, David, you were part of, speaking of that team that starts with Alfred kind of sort of, but then when Cronin comes in, you guys have this core. And you already talked about Jaime and Tiger, and for a minute, John Juzang and all that. Ben Bolch described you, and I've seen you described like in different stories written about you as being like the heart and soul of the team. A team leader, a outspoken team leader. Number one, was that accurately describe how you are as a teammate? Would you think you kind of the outspoken guy, or?
I mean, yeah, I feel like I wasn't always the most talented guy on the court, but I was always the guy that like kept people accountable.
Oh, that's good.
Right? I feel like without accountability, I feel like a team will crumble. Just accountability, just knowing your role, knowing your purpose, and like excelling in your role. Like, don't be that one guy that just fails your role, which ultimately fails the team. Have a good attitude. The only thing you control in basketball, in my opinion, is your attitude and your effort. So as long as those two things are running on full cylinders, I feel like everyone is a team that has a chance of doing something great.
And that's not really just about basketball. That's life too, right? So where did you get that lesson? What do you owe that to? How'd you learn that?
Well, number one, it's God and Jesus Christ. I'm a big Bible reader. And then my dad was really, I was really going through it, mentally with my dad, staying in LA, trying to carve a way, to find a way with a new coach and a coach that didn't recruit me.
Right.
And then my trainer too. So my dad, he's trained me, and then my other trainer, his name is Jamaal or Dashletics. We really sat down with film and watching like how ways I can score, ways I can still make an impact with my shooting, which really I worked on it day in and day out. Like there was times where that's why I know the Valley too well, because he works out in the Valley, and there was times where like mornings, night sessions, film sessions with Dash, like, and then between my spring and summer, my fourth year going to my fifth year, I was really locking in with my dad and Dash. He was teaching me about accountability, be that guy, be the vocal leader, be the guy that, and do it. You have to do it by example too.
Right.
So that's where I got that from.
And, you just said that, you weren't a guy that Cronin recruited, but he was there, he utilized you. And one of the biggest compliments I remember, I think you were at the press conference introducing the bracket for that 23 tournament. Just saying how wonderful you are, and if UCLA is looking to get like a 6th year for you, and he would love to have you back, just because at that point everybody knew who you are. David Singleton. Oh, it's like, oh yeah, he's like the workhorse. You got Tiger and Jaime and Jalen, but Singleton, you were like a fan favorite, and that is I think that's everlasting with certain fan bases as well, because we kind of tease this podcast, and so many people were like, are you kidding? Oh my God, I cannot wait. So your legacy seems to be cemented, and like you said, it was just effort and attitude, and your effort and attitude was just top tier the whole time, and everybody can see that, especially Coach Cronin. So first off, cheers to that. And again, this is why we're so happy that you came on the show. So just to show our appreciation for who you are, and to promote what else you're doing now. But yeah, you have just been you've been one of our favorites over the years.
No doubt.
And yeah, just a huge UCLA fan favorite. I don't know if you knew, but I'm just saying.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. But I would say, number one, I appreciate your words. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love the Bruin community. I love the Bruin fans. They had my back through. So they, believe it or not, like Bruin, the community and fans really got me through. Like, sometimes things wasn't going my way at UCLA, but obviously I wasn't thinking of transfer or anything like that. I just said, like, I either can complain about it or do something about it, and that's why I decided to do my 4th and 5th year.
Yeah.
And in terms of my legacy, though, as great as it is, and I hope it to be, I feel like it's not up to par with the UCLA standards, because it's not Final Four, semis made here. It's champions made here. So I feel like my legacy is not cemented yet. But
nice, I like that.
Yeah, but I feel like I can add to it soon. I
like that.
I feel like pretty soon I'll be coming back in this garage about 2 weeks, and I'll be adding to that legacy.
I like the sound of that. Oh man, that's good. So my mind's blown right now. But talking about how you were that emotional leader for your team, and that's kind of what your role is, and you control your attitude and you control your effort. There were other guys on that team that you went through 3-4 years with, going back to Jaime, going back to Tiger. What kind of role did your teammates have? Did guys have different roles, or were you guys? I don't know if this question quite makes sense, but like, there's different ways to lead people, right?
Yeah.
What kind of archetypes were, like, what kind of guy was Johnny Juzang, or what kind of guy was Jaime Jaquez, or whatever? I don't want to pick any particular guy for you to talk about, but did any of them stick out as a particularly good leader or something like that in any particular way?
No, we can go down the line. Tiger Campbell, he's the floor general. He's point guard. He's amazing at getting people spots and encouraging people, and and he's really good at getting yourself to believe in yourself. Johnny Juzang is ultimate scorer. He's a great guy off the court. Like, we laugh and joke a lot, and there's a reason why he's making a lot of money right now. On the court, he's a stone cold killer.
Right.
And that's the guy who put me on with the trainer with Dash. That was so.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Jaime Jaquez is an amazing person. We grew up playing against each other at AAU high school, and he's an amazing person on the court. He really just takes his time. Like, it's like, he tells me, if I have the ball, I don't rush. There's nothing that the defender can do to me to affect my tempo or anything like that. And then Jalen Clark, he's really a dog. But to motivate these guys, like, Jalen Clark, Jaime, and Juzang, like, we were focused on winning. Like, we were focusing on, it wasn't our still, because we know Cronin always said, well, it's good for us, it's good for the team. So, like, impacting winning, that's all we cared about, and that's what got us from the first 4 to the Final 4. And from then on is why we got, like, Sweet 16, because it became, like, in my opinion, like, Sweet 16 is like bare minimum these days for us, for the Bruin community.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
And like, that's bare minimum. The standard is literally national championship. So
absolutely.
Who had the best fit on that team?
best fits? Oh, the 5th year team?
Your final season.
My final season?
What the best swag?
Best swag? I gotta go with Mari Bailey. His swag is undefeated. He has a different kind of swag that only he can do. Like, when he paints his nails and everything, people are like, "Would you paint yours?" I was like, "No," but when Amari does it, it looks great. It really looks good.
You gotta have the confidence for that.
Yeah,
you gotta really feel it. You gotta really be comfortable with yourself.
Yeah, best fits. I gotta go with Mari Bailey for our 5th year.
Oh, yeah, and really quickly, you were at a game earlier this year, Minnesota, and you were the honorary captain, I believe. You had some fantastic hair there. What happened to it? It's shorter now. I took a picture on Twitter and said, David Singleton, best hair in the arena, and that just got so much traction. You going back to it? No,
I'm going back to it.
Nice. That was dope.
No, I'm cutting it. I made it all even on the sides and everything. But I'm gonna get my hair. I haven't cut it since I've been at UCLA. So when I walked in high school, I had low hair and I just never cut it all the way up to my 5th year. So
Nice.
I'll start another 5-year process for sure.
Yeah, that's patience. I don't have time for that.
You leave, when you left UCLA, you're like a top 5, correct me if I'm wrong, like top 5 in 3-pointers made, top 5 in your, like right, really high up there in the percentage as well, right? Do you remember a particular game or two or whenever when you were just unconscious, feeling it, like that kind of thing?
Absolutely. It was
Tell me about it.
away game Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Beating down the Terps.
Yeah, so we're what's crazy, and I had a story with the AT. My ear was hurting. I had a headache, and it was like a bunch of wax, just because of the pressure of that long flight.
Yeah,
they're the wax. So we got it out, and my equilibrium, like,
did you use one of those like horns or whatever?
Yeah,
what was that?
Yeah,
it
was
crazy.
like a water gun.
Oh,
and
God.
then so after I got clean, like I cleaned out the wax, my balance felt like the best it's ever felt. So going
awesome.
into the game, I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And I just went. That was probably the best game in my UCLA career.
Optimum performance right here.
Yeah.
Every game you played after that, you're like, give me the freaking air horn.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. Do you remember like about what your line was? I don't have it in front of me. Like just
it was like I think 24 points.
Let's go.
Yeah,
all right.
like I forgot, like 4 or 5 or 7 from 3, something like that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite place? I'm thinking like Pac-12 stops, but I mean, if there was a place you went non-con over and over again, do you have a favorite or a worst place or both to play at, like on the road?
So on the road, my best place I ever played at was Madison Square Garden. When we played
that had to be super cool, right?
The game after we played against Kentucky.
Oh, that's
like I didn't understand, like being an LA guy.
Sure.
I understand it was like famous, but I didn't understand Madison Square Garden. When I went into the arena, I'm like, okay, like
the Mecca.
Yeah, like I can
That's
understand,
really cool.
but that's for non-conference. For conference, like playing at like Arizona and Oregon, is definitely challenging. Like ASU their fans are good, but Arizona is just so loud. Like,
those Arizona people, those Arizona fans, they're really rotten people, aren't they? They're like the worst people in the world, aren't they?
No.
You don't have to say that. I'm going to say it for you. Those guys, those obnoxious sons of guns. It's okay.
He's been to a lot of Arizona games.
I have a lot of feelings about Arizona.
They just do their sport. They do their college athletics differently than us, and that's okay. That's what makes the college sport so great. You know, everyone has their own way of doing things, and they do things a little more.
They do things differently.
Yeah.
God damn them. All right. Why'd you wear 34?
I wore 34 because of my cousin. So my number used to be 21 in high school.
Oh, yeah?
And my cousin, he passed away on the court.
Oh, gosh.
With an enlarged heart. So, they missed it. And he just, he fell.
How old was he?
He was 18.
Oh, man.
So ever since then, his name was Cameron. I adopted 34 my junior year, and then I just always rock with it.
Man, well, there's no better reason to wear it than that.
Yeah.
My goodness, I heard that.
Not to bring up a separate subject, but O'Neal, didn't he have a similar situation where he didn't play?
Sharif.
Yeah,
you was overlapped with him, right?
Yeah. So Sharif had a heart condition, and he had heart surgery. So we had to monitor him as well.
Yeah, crazy.
How scary is that? I mean, obviously you went through it with your cousin, and then you have to relive it with someone who you're about to suit up with.
Yeah, it was scary. Like it was times where he couldn't even walk to class, and it was just I felt for him. Even though his last name was O'Neal, and people think like, oh, he'll be okay. It's like, no, it's a kid's life. It's his life. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought the kind of the same thing. Like, and Mike is not going to agree with this take, but like when Bronny was going through all that stuff, when he's going from the Cedar Canyon, which is right here, like a block away, to SC, and he's going through all the same sort of weird heart stuff. It's like, man, that's a person, man. These guys got to go through this stuff. It's like nothing's for sure at that point,
right? Especially playing sports, it's so dangerous. It's so crazy because like. That's like an off-court, everyday life kind of thing, and you need that to really function as an athlete.
Yeah. So, well, as an athlete, you just take for granted I'm going to be able to go 110% all the time, every time I want to. It's there, and now all of a sudden it's not. That's got to be really freaky. That's got to be crazy, man. So you played your career in the Pac-12, and now the Bruins are in the Big Ten. And, you talk about your trip to Maryland or the Madison Square Garden thing. Now it's like, that's like a normal thing. That's a conference game now going to freaking Maryland. Just as an athlete that played at UCLA, do you have any thoughts on them switching conferences and how that, or do you have any sort of grand take on what's happened with college athletics?
So, I feel like it's really good for UCLA to be in a major, like a higher, like I wouldn't say, it's still a Power 5 school. Pac-12 is still a Power 5 conference, but it wasn't getting as much love and respect as the other conferences, and
Certainly.
people like real college sports watchers know what I'm talking about when there's the ESPNs and the ABCs and all the big networks and channels. They cover all the East Coast things, and like Pac-12,
It's just a machine
yeah,
to get those guys, people to talk about them, right?
right.
Yeah.
And it's like, now UCLA can be a part of that. They can be a part of the high major networks, or any tournaments or games on the East Coast. They can be a part of that conversation now. So I feel like it's really opened up a lot of opportunities for UCLA and USC basketball as well.
Do you think that, the team that you had that stuck together for so long, but things are so much different just from a few years ago? Do you think it's possible for a college basketball team, let alone a football team, which is, many more guys switching in and out, to keep a team like that together now, given how much people transfer now and how, like, once a guy has a good season in, this season, he's getting offers from everywhere to go do that thing somewhere else, right? What's your take on just the movement of basketball, and is it completely different than it ever was before?
It's definitely completely different. Everyone before, like everyone, some teams, they have guys full of that's just playing for a check and not for a school.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like the school pride aspect definitely took a hit.
Yeah.
And then college basketball,
How could it not, right?
Yeah. And then like with the portal, and then with JUCO, you can play 2 years of JUCO and then play 4 years. It's just college basketball is definitely in a new era where schools can pay you directly now as well. It's just a new era. So I wouldn't say it's impossible to keep the same group of guys for multiple years, but it's definitely way harder than it used to be.
And it's funny too. We talk about this with football, and Deshaun Foster takes over the football program after Kelly, a year and a half ago. Cronen's been there, and Cronin always, I think, in our eyes, has been viewed as the guy who can. Maybe not all players are for him, but the guys that are his players, like, they're gonna have a higher likelihood of sticking around just because you guys are all committed. That's his thing. He builds these committed teams, right? To me, in my eyes, with the way that NIL has changed things, and with now the settlement that they did for the whole NCAA, where these big conferences have money to pay out for everybody, the guys more than the coaches more than ever before that are going to be successful are the ones that, no matter what's happening next year or what happened the year before, for this year's team, we're going to be galvanized and be playing for each other. And then, yeah, you might get offered a couple $1 million and you might go somewhere else because it's a better opportunity for you personally. But for this year, we're committed. Like, does that seem like what do you think about that, right? I mean, how important is that to compartmentalize a season right now as opposed to not worrying about what's going to happen down the line?
So, number one, I haven't spoke with Deshaun Foster directly, but I've been looking on Twitter. I've been looking at. I'm so excited for our football team this year.
I was going to ask you that.
I can definitely. I'm definitely excited to making those home games. So hopefully, I can still get the tickets where I can just go on the field.
Oh yeah, and wave at us.
Yeah, and that's what I'm.
Not him.
Yeah. But I would love to meet Deshaun Foster and like just ask what are you telling these kids to come here, because they're buying in.
Yeah.
The kids you already have are buying in, and the kids you're bringing in, it's just so excited. So I see UCLA football turning a new stone, especially with the QB situation and what's going on. And then
the Bruins.
But on top of, to answer your question, to find that's part of like the criteria of playing. In my opinion, just UCLA sports all around, just being committed for a season, just locking and committing for a season. And I would go as far as like you have to prepare. So one of Cronen's philosophies is preparing for is game by game. Like, we're not worried about what's on our schedule, who's on our schedule, who do we have to beat next, who do we have to lock in next. So I feel like taking it game by game helps teams take it season by season, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely does. I just think it's never been more important, especially because now the coverage is so much more, the money is so much more, the opportunity, which is a great thing for a college basketball player or for a college athlete. It's awesome that the opportunities are not just there, but now they're out in the open, almost sort of transparent, right? Like, whereas before you say you have to hide shit and stuff like that. Deshaun Foster got suspended for getting a car on the sly. Allegedly. Nowadays, that would, nobody bat an eye at that stuff because it's so much different. But with that being said, it's kind of like, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but it's like when you get married and start having kids, man, you're going to start realizing how crazy it is to be responsible for another little human being. And today, in the age of the internet, and we like have all these options. The options are all there, but the key is trying to figure out exactly what you're going to do, right? And that's kind of where college basketball or college sports is now, right? It's getting down to what is important. And you said it earlier. What you control your effort, and you control your attitude. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, attitude and effort.
And you got to keep that eye on the prize, right? Because you start worrying about what's going to happen next year, and then all of a sudden you're airballing a three. So, and you're pissing off your teammates, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. No one likes a guy that's just you can't look in the past, can't look in the future. The present is a gift. So
I love this, man.
So you just focus on that. Just focus.
You
on the
are
present.
one of the great all-time guys, man. So we're so honored to have you here.
Thank you.
Gonna switch gears really quickly. One of the reasons that this is all happening is because I reached out because you wanted to talk about UCLA men's and women's basketball. You wanted to get on a podcast and give your thoughts on what's going on with the current situation. And I definitely want to get into the men's team. Especially with, as we just talked about, like the transfer portal and NIL and all that. I wanted to ask you if stuff like that is sustainable, but when you roll it back to like women's basketball, it's not exactly there yet. There's still NIL and the transfer portal is still there, but there seems to be, with women's basketball, they seem to be able to hold a core together a little bit more than men's. I think that will catch up in like maybe 2-3 years, but with what Corey Close has done the last few years, and she's getting into NIL and stuff like that, what are your thoughts on how she has built up this team and built it up into a contender? Because I remember over the last decade, UCLA was a contender in the Pac-12, but it was either Oregon or Stanford, and those were just dominant teams. And then they get into the Big Ten, and they're at the top of the standings. What are your thoughts on how Coach Close has developed that team?
Well, first of all, I'm a huge fan of UCLA women's. I'm a huge fan of women's basketball, but UCLA women's basketball definitely holds a special place in my heart for sure, because watching those girls compete and hoop and being on the court like in Pauley Pavilion, them like I just appreciate basketball around. So to watch Corey Close go, from my freshman year 2018-19 to what it is now, it's unbelievable. It was unbelievable to watch. Like I was on Twitter, like texting her, have my projector on, watching them, cheering on the girls, because they're really doing it. They're really playing like a good brand of basketball. So I think Coach Corey, like she amplifies like her team. She makes it known that good basketball needs to be played for us to win, and that's what she does. And she's doing a really good job with the program and the players, and you see the fruits of her labor, really.
Do you think that Lauren Betts could be the top player in the nation next year?
1,000%. Like I'm a huge Lauren Betts fan, and she knows it too. Like I text her, I'm like hashtag bet on Betts and everything.
I love it.
Like, and I'm excited for her sister to come in and help the program.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just I'm really excited for UCLA, just UCLA basketball, men's and women's. So hopefully I would just love to see one time we can get like a back to back. Like I'm not sure what the schedule is, but say if the girls play Friday and the guys play Saturday, just a back to back sold out crowd. I would
from your mouth to God's ears, right?
Yeah, I would just love to see it, because that's what these kids deserve. They're pouring their blood, sweat, and tears out, and then a lot of people don't understand, like they have the pressures of being a college athlete and the pressures of being a UCLA athlete, and we both know that's two different things. We don't hang anything but national championships in Pauley Pavilion for a reason. So I feel like
How do you feel about that?
I like it. I'm not gonna lie. Like I understand like what people say. Especially me having the one in Final Four. Like it's time for a new era and this and that. But I like our tradition. Like it breeds excellence. It makes you better. Like if you don't win, like sorry, like got to win next year and do something about it. Like I love our tradition. If they change it, I wouldn't be against changing it. But as it stands right now, I love it. I love the standard. I love like what it breeds, what it represents.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. Hearing that from one of the athletes, that's pretty cool that you can embrace it. And I'm kind of like with you. I'm kind of like, if you do it one way, I appreciate the fact that that's what they do.
Right.
If they change it, I'm really not going to be upset about it. It's not like what they did. It's not like in football they decided to play outside of Division I after being one of only 3 schools that never did it, and then they did it. And I was kind of pissed off about that. They did it in a nice way. You know, they went to a historically black college and hosted them, and it was fun. But I still was like, I liked being one of only 3 schools that never did it. I don't feel that way about the Hanging Final Four manners or whatever like that is.
Right.
But I do appreciate that, hearing that from you. That you're there and you look up at them when you're practicing all that stuff, and it's part of the history of the school.
Yeah.
It's cool that you embrace it, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've said, might as well put it in the foyer. You know, you walk in, you see all the decorative murals and trophies and stuff like that around the foyer before you actually get into the inside of Poly. I'm like, that would look good, and then you have a lot of space for all the other sports that have
There's certainly a
gone
lot
that
of things
far.
they can put up for sure, right?
Yeah, totally.
Thinking about this upcoming season, the 25-26 Bruins, do you have any thoughts on, what, how far they can go or what they're going to look like, or, any opinion about this team?
Well, I haven't seen them practice, so I can't really give my feedback on this team. But what I will say is definitely the returners are definitely they're coming for blood, that's for sure. They're locked in, ready to go. I've been training with some of the guys at UCLA, and they're looking good. They're looking like they want to compete. They look like they're on a mission. Like they have a single purpose, is winning a national championship. And I just love the energy that I'm getting from working out with the guys.
Right.
Have you seen Donovan Dent?
No, I haven't. So I haven't seen any of the transfers. I've seen Eric Daly Jr. and then I've seen
the guys that are returned. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen the returning guys. I haven't seen the transfers coming in, but just looking on paper, seeing what we're bringing in, and knowing that if Cronin got them for a reason, that means they're Cronin's guys, so they're gonna buy in and do what they need to do and contribute to the team. I feel like we can do some really great things with this team this year.
We have kept you for a long time. Do you have another couple minutes? I just have a few things that they're coming to me right now.
I have all the time in the world.
You're such an amazing resource for us.
Yeah, all the time in the world.
Okay, so a couple things that just occurred to me. Number one, men's gym, right? And that's something for UCLA players like you guys are there.
Yeah.
Over the years, like epic, legendary pickups or whatever. Do you have any stories about like you're playing with your teammates or whatever, just in the summer, whatever, and all of a sudden now you're playing with this guy or that guy or something like mind blowing as far as
did you ever become starstruck?
No, or not either starstruck or just like, holy shit, I'm on the court with this NBA guy, that guy, or any of those sort of things.
No, yeah, it's not starstruck, but it's just really like it's a honor and a blessing to play with NBA organizations and those open runs. You have some teams like they have like a Kings 5 or a Raptors 5,
right?
Going my 4th year, going to my 5th year, we made it was me, Amari, Jaime, Tiger, and Adem, I believe, and then we made it onto the winning court, and we were beating the pro. We were beating the pros at one point.
Let's go.
Yeah, and it was an amazing experience. But I feel like part of those runs are part of what make UCLA. That there's no other run, in my opinion. There's no other runs on the planet better than those UCLA runs in the summer. The fact that we host them and then we have a team. We always have a team going against those kind of pros. And it's a good resource for the guys and to get experience and knowledge from great guys. Like LeBron has been on the court. Kyrie has been on the court, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant.
It's amazing.
It's
absolutely amazing.
Other than New York, because obviously New York and basketball, but that DNA, those blood, the sweat, the tears in that gym, the greats that have paved the way in that gym, it's a blessing to be not only on the campus but on that wood, the same wood that Magic Johnson was on, LeBron was on, Devin Booker was on. It's amazing, an honor and a blessing.
You're effing telling me. In 1998, I was on that court, and I got stitches in my eye because I'm a ground. I'm a player on the ground. Obviously, a terrible player, but man, we went to block a shot, and the guy's elbow to me right there, Jorge, almost. I bled on that court too, and I can say that.
Even
Even at the crappy little level I was playing at, Laval Commons League, it's like shit.
That's the beauty of UCLA.
It's amazing.
If you love basketball and you're a fan and you bleed blue, and you get to be on the same court as those legendary guys.
Very, very cool.
In that same vein, was there anyone that sometimes we see videos of Coach Cronin bringing former players on, legendary players. Is there anyone where maybe you did get a little starstruck? You're not playing them, but like maybe did you see like Don McClain or Bill Walton or Kareem?
It wasn't really starstruck for me. Like it was like just I'm not saying I'm supposed to meet them, but it was like
you are supposed to meet them. I'll say it for you, Mr. Singleton. Shit.
But it was like
you're part of that fraternity.
Naturally. Exactly. So it's like being like having breakfast with Bill Walton every day on game day because he stayed in the hotel that we stayed at for a home game, or like
that's so
Don
cool.
McClain just interviewing me, like I'm just like, well, you're Don McClain, like I should be like I want to ask you questions, like seeing
cool.
Kareem, like even my mom sometimes tells me Kareem reps UCLA more than he does the Lakers, and I'm just like, because it's UCLA. Like that's one thing about UCLA is like it's greatness, like it's greatness all around. So to be a part of that fraternity, like you said, and to contribute is one thing. To be a part of the fraternity, another thing to contribute greatness to that fraternity. Obviously not a national championship in my situation, but just to revitalize UCLA basketball, like to remind people that this is the standard for UCLA community and just NCAA sports all around.
Which you did and which you were a part of, and we thank you for it.
Yeah, no, I thank the fans for the support, because I remember there was times where like we were not good, and I didn't understand what it took to be good and to be good at UCLA and what it means like to wear those 4 letters. And I'm glad I got a chance to, even though I don't wish loss upon myself, but I got a chance to struggle, because that made me appreciate the wins even more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you learn a lot from the losing in a lot of circumstances. Obviously, you want to always be winning. You want to try to be winning, but that's where a lot of the lessons come, right?
Yeah.
All right. The last thing for me, and it's just a rando thing that just occurred to me as a Laker fan over here. How pissed were you when the Lakers passed on Jaime and then he goes the next goddamn pick to Miami? Because I was pissed. Were you pissed?
I
was good for Jaime Hawkins, obviously. He's doing well.
Yeah, I was happy for Jaime. I'm like, because Jaime, like, he wanted to go to Miami. He
did? Okay, yeah. That makes you feel a little better.
He wanted to stay in LA. That obviously, who doesn't want to leave SoCal?
Especially the Lakers.
Right, exactly. Like, but
I'm still mad about that.
It's hard. It's hard for him. It's hard for me to be mad when when you see your friends getting drafted and they achieve success.
Course.
But like,
of course,
from a Laker fan standpoint,
I want to know what the Laker fan thought.
What was going through your mind?
Seriously, right?
Like, I'm not. And
I've been saying that about Rob Pelinka for years.
And it's not. I'm not taking away for Jalen Schifino, because he's a great player. Like, played against him in the G League. He's a he's a great player. Like, he belongs for sure in the first round.
Yeah.
But as a Laker fan, it's like, what else? How
it was right there on the table for you.
How LA can it? How more LA can it get? You have someone of someone of Hispanic descent. Jaime Jaquez he's Latin. He's a Latin descent, and he's from LA. Went to UCLA. What more even from a business standpoint, like marketing, like And he wears his number was 24.
Lakers could have had
nobody in Los Angeles couldn't pick Jalen Schifino out of a lineup. We're talking about Jaime Jaquez.
Damn it.
You could have sold Jaime headbands.
Come on.
Blue and gold, 24.
That's all I'm saying.
It could be blue, gold, and purple.
Right? Come on.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful color.
The thing about the NBA is a business, and there's always a chance you can make it back here somehow, some way.
I would love it. Him and Alex Caruso, welcome back home, please. God damn it. All right. That was a rough stretch that year or whatever. They both left. Oh my God. David Singleton, you have been so gracious with your time, and
yes, thank you very much. Yeah,
we want to thank you very much for coming up to the North Valley to bless us with your presence. It was really a fun time talking to you. And Ben Bolcher's right; you are one of the all-time great guys. So you're always welcome here, and we look forward to seeing all the wonderful things you do in the future. But thank you so much for coming on the What's Bruin Show.
Thank you for having me. It's always an honor and a blessing just to say my piece and just to be part of the Bruin community and saying how I feel and what are my thoughts. I just love contributing to the fraternity however I can.
And we could not have said it better ourselves. Big hand for David Singleton. Mike, thank you very much for lining up the interview. And dude.
I mean,
geez.
if you want to come on before the season start and do a women's men's basketball preview, I'm just saying you're more than welcome.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you want to
yeah.
come on anytime you want, you just show up. You're good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely. I'll
Come over
get-
tomorrow for brisket. Like,
Yeah, I'll make sure you get
I'll
the brisket.
definitely I'll get a peek at what the summer workouts look like, and I'll report back to you guys.
yes,
Nice.
sir. All right, that's David Singleton, everybody. Well, that was a wonderful interview with David Singleton. I told you it was going to be awesome, and it was. Thanks again for joining us in studio for, gee whiz, almost an hour. And then he got to go say hi to Grizzly afterwards. He really likes dogs. And how could you not like Grizzly the Superman? So, and I showed my new smoker. It was awesome. It was a great time. So please, hope you enjoyed the show. I won't be on the show for another couple weeks. I'm going on vacation. Mike may or may not do a show in the interim. That's going to be up to him. And then we'll be charging back mid-July, going into Big Ten Media Day and all that stuff. And it's going to be football with our new-look Bruins, 51 new players, and a few guys left over after that. So exciting stuff, heading right into the summer. Before you know it, football season will be here. And until, I guess, next time, right, go to Hot Merchants Bottle Shop and Tap Room to go get some dumplings from Jody. Call the hotline, 805-399-4WS, second rain in Troy. And until I'll be on Rain Troy tomorrow night, Wednesday night on their YouTube. And until next time, go Bruins.
Good evening.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
That was the What's Bruin Show.
Oh my God.
Try us tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's gotta be in or out, Mom. In or out. Well, I need the door closed.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Dude, Rob, we play some ball on the West Coast.
The final word is boob.